In the shadows of the Cold War, a complex web of secret dealings began to form within the highest levels of the American government. The year was 1985, and the Reagan administration was facing a difficult and emotional foreign policy crisis. 7 American citizens were held hostage in Lebanon by Hezbollah, a group with known ties to the revolutionary government of Iran. Publicly, the United States maintained a firm policy of never negotiating with terrorists or trading arms for hostages. This strong stance was a cornerstone of President Reagan's foreign policy, projecting an image of unwavering resolve. However, behind the scenes, a desperate and clandestine effort to free the hostages was taking shape. National Security Advisor Robert McFarlane became a central figure in this covert initiative. The plan was audacious and fraught with risk: to secretly sell weapons to Iran. The administration hoped that this gesture would build goodwill with perceived moderates within the Iranian regime. These moderates, it was believed, could then exert their influence to secure the release of the American hostages. The first transaction involved the sale of sophisticated TOW anti-tank missiles. This was a direct violation of the U.S. arms embargo against Iran, a country designated as a state sponsor of terrorism. Simultaneously, another secret war was being waged in Central America. The Reagan administration was deeply committed to supporting the Contras in Nicaragua. This right-wing rebel group was fighting to overthrow the socialist Sandinista government. President Reagan famously referred to the Contras as the moral equivalent of the Founding Fathers. Indeed. However, Congress had passed the Boland Amendment, explicitly prohibiting any U.S. government funding for the Contras. This created a major obstacle for the administration's anti-communist agenda in the region. It was within this context that a National Security Council staffer named Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North devised a solution. North's plan was to connect the two secret operations into a single, self-sustaining covert loop. The idea was diabolically simple: divert the profits from the Iranian arms sales to fund the Contras. This would allow the administration to bypass the Boland Amendment and continue its support for the Nicaraguan rebels. The scheme was set in motion, operating completely outside of congressional oversight and public knowledge. A secret ledger was kept, detailing the flow of money from the arms sales. The transactions were complex, involving a network of international arms dealers and secret bank accounts. Subsequent arms shipments to Iran included Hawk anti-aircraft missiles and other military parts. With each sale, millions of dollars were generated for the clandestine fund. This money was then funneled to the Contras, providing them with weapons, supplies, and training. The entire operation was a house of cards, built on secrecy and deception. In November 1986, the carefully constructed secret began to unravel. A Lebanese magazine, Ash-Shira, published an exposé revealing the arms for hostages deal. The story was quickly picked up by international media, sending shockwaves around the world. Initially, the Reagan administration flatly denied the allegations. President Reagan went on national television to assure the American people that the reports were false. "We did not, I repeat, did not trade weapons or anything else for hostages," he declared. But the evidence was mounting, and the denials became increasingly untenable. Attorney General Edwin Meese launched an internal investigation to get to the bottom of the affair. It was during this investigation that Oliver North's diversion memo was discovered. The memo connected the arms sales to the Contra funding, revealing the full scope of the secret. The revelation of the diversion of funds transformed the story from a controversial policy decision into a full-blown political scandal. The Iran-Contra Affair, as it came to be known, now dominated the national conversation. Oliver North and his secretary, Fawn Hall, began a frantic effort to shred incriminating documents. They worked for hours, trying to destroy the paper trail before investigators could seize it. National Security Advisor John Poindexter, who had replaced McFarlane, resigned. Oliver North was fired from his position on the National Security Council. President Reagan, facing a crisis of credibility, appointed the Tower Commission to investigate the affair. The commission's report was highly critical of the administration's actions and the chaotic management style. It concluded that President Reagan's disengaged approach had allowed his subordinates to run amok. In the summer of 1987, Congress held televised hearings that captivated the nation. Oliver North, in his decorated Marine uniform, was the star witness. He testified for days, defending his actions as patriotic and necessary. North admitted to misleading Congress and shredding documents, but he remained defiant. He argued that he had acted in what he believed were the best interests of the country. His emotional and charismatic testimony turned him into a controversial folk hero for some. The hearings also revealed the existence of a shadowy, off-the-books enterprise within the government. It was described as a secret government within a government, accountable to no one. The scandal raised profound constitutional questions about the separation of powers. It pitted the executive branch's desire for foreign policy flexibility against Congress's power of the purse. An independent counsel, Lawrence Walsh, was appointed to conduct a criminal investigation. Walsh's investigation would last for years and result in the indictment of 14 individuals. Those indicted included former National Security Advisor John Poindexter and Oliver North. Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger was also indicted for lying to Congress. Oliver North was convicted on 3 felony counts, including obstructing Congress. However, his convictions were later overturned on a technicality. The appeals court ruled that his immunized congressional testimony may have unfairly influenced his trial. Poindexter was also convicted, but his conviction was similarly reversed on appeal. In the end, many of the key figures in the scandal avoided legal punishment. On Christmas Eve of 1992, President George H.W. Bush issued pardons to 6 individuals involved in the affair. This included Caspar Weinberger, effectively ending the independent counsel's investigation. The pardons were controversial, with critics accusing Bush of a cover-up. The Iran-Contra Affair left a lasting scar on the American political landscape. It eroded public trust in the government and raised questions about accountability that linger to this day. The affair demonstrated the dangers of unchecked executive power and secret foreign policy. It served as a stark reminder of the fragility of the constitutional balance. For President Reagan, the scandal was the lowest point of his presidency. He maintained he was unaware of the diversion of funds. His leadership was severely questioned. His approval ratings plummeted, and his administration was thrown into disarray. Yet, remarkably, his popularity recovered by the time he left office. The hidden truth of the affair was the existence of a government operating in the shadows. It was a government that believed its ends justified its illegal means. The story began with a noble goal, freeing innocent American hostages. But it descended into a quagmire of secret arms deals and illicit funding. The affair highlighted the moral compromises that can occur when secrecy prevails. The desire to project strength led to actions of profound weakness. The rule of law was subverted by a small group of determined individuals. They believed they were serving a higher cause, a cause that superseded the law. The affair's complexity made it difficult for the public to fully grasp. Its narrative was filled with code words, secret flights, and numbered accounts. This complexity, perhaps, helped shield some of the participants from accountability. The legacy of Iran-Contra is a cautionary tale. It warns of the dangers of a foreign policy conducted without transparency. It underscores the vital importance of congressional oversight. It reveals the deep ideological passions that drove the Cold War's final decade. The secret deals were a gamble, a bet against the law and public trust. The initial arms shipment was approved by Reagan, though he would later claim not to remember. Israel played a crucial role as the initial intermediary for the arms sales. This added another layer of complexity and secrecy to the operation. The release of one hostage, Reverend Benjamin Weir, seemed to validate the strategy. This apparent success only emboldened the architects of the plan. But for every hostage released, another seemed to be taken, creating a vicious cycle. The Iranian moderates proved to be less influential than the administration had hoped. The Contra-funding operation was known internally as the Enterprise. It involved a cast of private citizens, retired military officers, and international financiers. This privatization of foreign policy was one of the most alarming aspects of the affair. The affair exposed a deep rift within the administration itself. Secretary of State George Shultz and Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger had strongly opposed the arms sales. They were often overruled by the more hawkish National Security Council staff. The scandal demonstrated a failure of the normal foreign policy process. Decisions were made by a small, insulated group, accountable only to each other. The Tower Commission report used the phrase management style to gently criticize the president. Reagan's detachment was portrayed as a key reason the affair could spiral out of control. During his testimony, North often invoked his duty as a soldier to follow orders. This raised questions about where the ultimate responsibility for the operation lay. Poindexter testified that he had deliberately insulated the president from the diversion of funds. He claimed he wanted to provide Reagan with plausible deniability. This concept itself became a subject of intense public debate. The affair damaged U.S. credibility with its allies around the world. Allies who had respected the arms embargo felt betrayed by the secret sales. The affair's final chapter was written not in a courtroom, but in the White House. Bush's pardons were seen by Prosecutor Walsh as the completion of a cover-up. Walsh believed the pardons prevented a full accounting of the affair, including Bush's own role. The hidden truth of Iran-Contra was not just one secret, but many. It was a story of good intentions leading to disastrous consequences. It was a story of patriotism clashing with the rule of law. And it was a story of a secret foreign policy that ultimately could not remain secret. The scandal's echoes can still be heard in contemporary debates about executive power. The affair involved a complex money trail that was difficult to trace. Funds were routed through Swiss bank accounts and shell corporations. CIA Director William Casey was a powerful and mysterious figure in the background. He fell ill and died before he could be compelled to testify fully. His death left many unanswered questions about his knowledge of the diversion. The affair showed how national security could be used to justify extra-legal actions. The media played a crucial role in uncovering and sustaining the story. Their investigations helped piece together the fragmented narrative for the public. The affair was a defining moment of the 1980s. It captured the high-stakes geopolitical drama of the late Cold War. Ultimately, the Iran-Contra Affair is a story about the abuse of power. It serves as a permanent lesson on the necessity of checks and balances. The secret deals, born of desperation, ultimately failed to achieve their primary goals. More American hostages were taken in Lebanon even after the arms sales began. The Contras, despite the funding, failed to overthrow the Sandinista government. The affair's true cost was measured in the currency of public trust. A generation of Americans learned to be more skeptical of official government narratives. The hidden truth was that the government had lied to its people. And that truth, once revealed, changed the country forever.